That's right. Greetings, fellow armchair Imagineers. Tiki here.
And Blue Dragon 5.
Plus Jacob Weil, 2.
Ladies and gentlemen, as we find ourselves on the cusp of Disney's big venture into the world of streaming, even counting a war in the process, we thought it'd be nice to stay up to date on the ever-growing catalog and rule on what's a must or bust on Disney Plus. That's right, folks. Welcome to our weekly Disney Plus recap show. We're going to get right into it here. We've got the three shows we're covering right now on a week-to-week basis are, of course, Mandalorian, Imagineering Story, and believe it or not, in all honesty, my personal favorite, The World According to Jeff Goldblum. And before we get to that, we're going to go over just a little bit of news, kind of a slow week on Disney Plus. You know, of course, the big first week launch. There was a million things happening all at once. Everyone was kind of scrambling. I feel like things have kind of slowed down. We're all kind of like gradually getting into the slip of things. I don't know. You guys want to go roundtable, kind of like give a thesis on the week, if you will, of your experiences with Disney Plus? Any highs, any lows? You guys got anything to say here?
All still pretty good. That's all I got. So,
No major technical issues on my end.
That's what I was talking about mostly, is the technical stuff. Okay, cool.
I mean, other than what you're about to talk about, I haven't really.
Yeah.
I've got to admit, I've been having some issues watching it on my phone.
Karma.
Well, I know. It's not really a big deal, like I said, because it's like when I'm watching stuff on my phone, it's mostly, I'm not going to sit down and watch like a 3-hour movie or anything. I'm mostly probably going to watch a short or an episode of a show or something like that. But sometimes when I start the episode, or just when it's in the middle of the episode, it'll just straight up black out or glitch out. I haven't had any issues on my desktop, and those are my two forms of watching it, or my phone and my desktop. I don't have a TV in my room. I don't watch TV at all anymore. But so no issues on the laptop front, but phone is definitely kind of a hit or miss scenario there. So still not great, but let's get into something that, we're kind of, we're all missing the, that little cue, that little recently played cue, that sweet, sweet thing that Netflix has, but Disney doesn't. We're missing that, but we did get a very pivotal feature for binge watching, which is the resume function. Now, of course, like I said, this is such a third world problem to have, guys, isn't it? It's like, oh dear, if I want to go back and, catch up on gargoyles, I'm actually going to have to type the word gargoyles into the search bar. Oh, pity me. Oh, woe is me. I can't just access it from the home screen. But, alas, it is a minor inconvenience that still exists, but hey, at least when you go to Gargoyles or Timon and Pumbaa or whatever the heck you're binging, the Little Mermaid animated series, shout out Monkey, at least when you go there, you know where you left off. There's a bookmark there. That's nice. That's handy. Any thoughts, guys?
Yeah, it's progress for sure, but again, the most pivotal thing we still need is is kind of the interface version of the resume button, as in it kind of pops up in like a little tab of its own, like continue watching, resume watching these, or like your stuff that you've been watching, and here's where you left off in them.
Mm-hmm.
If you get that done, I think you're gonna have a lot of happy Disney Plus subscribers. I really do.
It's really the only other really major thing that needs fixed.
Yeah. Besides, like, the minor technical glitches happening here and there, that's still. I mean, I'm hearing less about it than I have, so I feel like they are getting ironed out. But
heck, even Netflix experiences that every once in a while. So
of course. All right. And it's interesting. I was just reading the difference between Netflix and Disney Plus, and I agree. It is kind of a weird divide that we have, where it's like Netflix just has such a girth of content that on any one of our Netflix profiles, we're only seeing like a fraction of what the actual content they have is. It's just curated to us. Netflix, the algorithm, does do a really good job for the most part. Occasionally, it's like, I think for the most part, they do a good job of, curating stuff to our liking. But Disney Plus, I feel like it's almost the opposite. I feel like with Disney Plus, it's like it's kind of counting on you to know what's there, to know what you want to watch. And for that reason, I'm just going to kind of praise again. I do think from an organizational, categorical standpoint, they have things really, really well laid out, like the Disney by the Decade tab, I'll praise once again. And, just how easy it is to get, that really handy dandy feature of like, all right, Disney, Pixar, Star Wars, Marvel, National Geographic, whatever you want, it's all there right on the homepage. Like all that, I'm still kind of glowing over how handy that all is. I will say, though, one thing, let's just kind of get all our wish list stuff out here now, because I don't really feel like we really need to do an individual segment on that this episode. But one thing that I'm still kind of wanting them to add is, and I don't know how high up on the priority list this is, because I haven't really heard anyone else talking about it, is I really wish instead of all the shorts, all the classic shorts being their own individual tab, I really wish we could just get them all collected into one package and just have like an easy access to like Mickey Mouse shorts. Click on the Mickey Mouse shorts, have a playlist of Mickey Mouse shorts. If I want to watch all the goofy how-tos in a row, they have them on there, but I don't want to watch them all individually. So I don't know, just little minor things like that categorically would be good.
Basically treats them like a series rather than a movie.
Exactly. That's what I want the shorts to basically be categorized as series. That's if we had that, I feel like we'd really be good to go from a categorical standpoint.
Yeah, and to bring in like another Netflix comparison, like you can curate your own maybe have individual different playlists that you can do like maybe multiple playlists, or at least give the ability to rate what you was like. Did you like that or did you not like that? Maybe so that way you're more stuff you like shows up.
Hey, correct me if I'm wrong. I'm pretty sure there is a playlist function on there.
I mean, there is a playlist. It's more like a watch list rather than a playlist.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, right. Oh, I hear you. I hear what you're saying. So basically, what you're saying is you want like a curated playlist, like something like Spotify would pop out.
Yeah, maybe kind of. I mean, that's kind of what I'm going. Maybe you can organize your own playlist, create like an individual watch list for certain shorts or shows that you want to go to, or at least maybe the thing what I mean is the ability to sort your playlist. You just go in there and everything's all in a row. That's nice, in the order you set it to your watch list, but it doesn't sort it between movies or shows or anything like that.
Oh, I hear you.
I mean, that's a feature. That's another feature I would like. I mean, it's not bad. I mean, you can obviously scroll through your playlist, but inevitably the playlist is going to get large, and you don't really want to scroll through the whole thing if you're looking for a random show or movie.
All right.
That's really the only other thing I would wish for.
Dragon, any other wishes on your end, my friend?
Of course, my wish list still kind of remains the same, in that Buzz Lightyear, Star Command, and The Legend of Tarzan. But I did notice a few things were missing this week. I did notice Toy Story Time Forgot, not there. And it's getting close to the holidays. It's kind of
yeah.
And Toy Story of Terror isn't there.
Well, yes, true. I'm just saying, especially seasonally. But you're right. Well, that's probably the best of the Toy Story shorts so far. So yeah.
All right, but you know what is on there starting December 1st?
Tiki, we're not that far gone yet.
Disney December.
They haven't bought the names of the months yet.
It's Disney December.
God. Okay,
They haven't bought Channel Awesome yet. We're not there yet.
All right, guys, the first Garfield movie is coming December 1st.
Okay.
Now remember why this is important.
Because only the second one was on there at launch.
Yes.
For some reason.
Yeah.
I can't wait to watch the first Garfield. But importantly, Dragon, a show that I would actually recommend to you. I don't think it ends on the strongest note, but I do think solidly seasons 1 through 3, especially seasons 2 through 3, are really strong. Star vs. Forces of Evil, especially because of the Michael C. Hall and Alan Tudyk villains in that show. I think you'd really get a kick out of both of them. All right, let's see. Anything else here? Thor Ragnarok's coming on December 5th.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
Woo!
Oh, also, importantly, something I'm actually looking forward to. December 3rd is the One Day at Disney documentary. And honestly, the reason I'm looking forward to this is, like, at first it kind of felt like, hey, we're, cast member propaganda. Look how happy these cast members are. But honestly, like, from what I'm hearing, it's not just like a parks. Like, they're going like all throughout like the company into different areas of all the aspects of Disney and obscure jobs that we might not even think about.
Yeah,
So
like
in that vein, I am looking forward to this one. I do think it is going to be like, even for someone like me who kind of like, considers myself a connoisseur of this stuff, like, honestly, like, as great as the Imagineering story is, I've got to admit there's not really anything in there that I haven't already known. There's certainly footage in there that I haven't seen, but that's a different story. But One Day at Disney, I feel like, does have the potential to like really shine a light on like some really obscure areas of Disney. So I'm looking forward to that.
yeah, it has like it's gonna have like park stuff, like and even the animation studio
Mhm.
stuff. I mean, might even like delve into like some of their acquired properties for all we know.
Cruise lines, I'm sure.
Cruise
I'm
lines.
sure. I'm sure they'll focus on the culinary aspect of Disney, which is a big element of the parks.
Yep.
Um, Guys, December 11th, just in time for my birthday. Oh my God, you're never gonna believe it. Alice through the looking glass. Importantly, Dragon, I don't know if you know this yet. December 13th, we're getting another Spark short.
I heard.
Yeah. It's called Wind.
Yes.
So that's exciting.
Can't wait for Short Circuit to drop.
Wait, Short Circuit's coming?
No, like that, the shorts that like it's like Disney Animation Studios like version of Spark Shorts.
Oh.
Wait, what?
What?
Yeah,
I haven't heard about that. That sounds interesting.
yeah, it's like the same like creator driven shorts that over at WDAS rather than like it's not like WDAS's version of the Spark Shorts.
Honestly, with all due respect, Dragon, that sounds more interesting than like the thing that you were thinking about.
It does. It does. Again, I want to point out a little derivative of like, kind of the awesome. I would have been really impressed. Man, that's a really obscure pull for Disney, eh? Forever. The real questions are they going to get Short Circuit too? Because that's the better one.
Did Disney even make the movie?
That's what I'm saying, man. It's like, okay, wow, they're really getting everything now.
You know what Disney movie I want that they actually did make? I really want Dick Tracy.
Ah.
No, that would be. I mean, they have Roger Rabbit, so why not?
Netflix has The Irishman. Disney has Dick Tracy.
Oh God, yeah, that's a fair comparison right there.
What? Pacino has a heavy, or more of a heavy-looking guy.
Oh God. All right. I think that's about it in terms of news. I'm kind of scrolling through. It looks like there's going to be some, for the parents out there, it looks like there's going to be some Disney Junior stuff coming on the 1st. Henry Hugglemonster, The Lion Guard, Season 3. So, yeah.
Yeah, because I think seasons 1 and 2 are already on there.
Do you know anything about this Marvel Rising series, Dragon?
I still haven't gotten to it yet because basically what it seems to be doing, just from like the image and kind of the description, is it's basically we're using the Marvel banner to kind of highlight kids who are kind of going through heroic kind of situations, like for example, I imagine there'd be an Iron Man parable for a little girl who needs a limb.
Wait, no. You're thinking of the Marvel Heroes project.
Oh, I know. You said Rising, didn't you?
Yeah, Marvel Rising.
Oh yeah, Marvel Rising. This is the animated this animated thing you're doing with a number of the Marvel female heroes. It's I've seen a little bit of it. I haven't watched it on Disney Plus. I assume it was the one they had going on already.
Okay.
Which was, sorry, yeah, but yeah, that one too. It's I'm not in a rush to get to it. As I mentioned, Marvel and animation. This is still from the old guard of the animation stuff, but Rising has at least a better art style. So I don't know. It's it's okay.
The main Marvel animated project on this show, on this thing, will obviously be What If.
I know that'll be the one that's going to set the tone, like where we're going with Marvel animation, where they're actually going to put some effort into it. Because the only time, usually when we put effort into it, it gets canceled after 2 seasons. That's usually what happens with Marvel animation. You look whether it's whether it's Spectacular Spider-Man or if it, I know technically outside the purview specifically of Marvel. And the point being, you have Spectacular Spider-Man, or you have Avengers: Earth's Mightiest Heroes, which thankfully is on Disney Plus for all to check out. A very underrated yet really awesome show, and also for the kids out there, and Tiki. Wolverine and the X-Men. Check out that show, man. I thought I did a double take. Oh god, they even have that on there. Awesome. That's technically a Nickelodeon show, which is trippy.
Oh wow.
And also the original X-Men show. The X-Men
That is,
series.
yeah. You have all well, basically everything but the other big popular X-Men show, the X-Men Evolution, or that one.
Yeah, it's like just make sure you try and watch it in order because for all that.
Yeah. I haven't checked out if Wolverine and the X-Men's in order, but that's definitely one to check out. That's for me personally, I like that one way better than the original X-Men. But that's just
okay. Also, one thing to note, Dragon, I'm sure you're as annoyed by this as I am. Where the heck are the new episodes of the Pixar in real life?
Oh, I've written my letters.
Yeah, I don't get it. It's like the first one was so short, like it wasn't even a full episode. It really should have been. And now we're not even getting like a week-to-week thing. It's like, honestly, it's not even on the schedule at all in this list of December stuff I have.
Well, if I'm a betting man, I'm going to say it's going to be like a bi-monthly thing because they didn't put a lot of money into it, and they only did a certain number of pranks, or basically live little kind of stage things from the Duke. Probably it's what you see in the trailer, which is roughly 5 or 6.
Mm-hmm.
That's probably going to be it for them, and that would probably be spread either over a month or like a bi-monthly sort of. Like every 2 months they'll put one up, would be my guess.
All right. Yeah. Okay. So guys, let's move on to the recaps here. Let's go start with the Mandalorian episode 3, The Sin.
Yeah, so this is the big character choice episode. This is like where we've established the Mandalorian. We've kind of put him in kind of, as many people have phrased it very correctly, the kind of lone wolf and cub episode of episode 2. And very much, kind of the old, you come across the, well, you know how that story goes. Point being, now we're at the big now we're like the story really, we're kind of capping off the main arc of we found Baby Yoda. We found Baby Yoda, which, by the way, people are going nuts over Baby Yoda.
Of course they are.
They are.
It's cute.
Apparently, to the point where it's like a whole merchandising thing too. People demand Baby Yoda for Christmas, and they're going to get it apparently. Like a whole thing. I don't know if you're aware of it. That was like the other news thing I guess we should have brought up, is that people have demanded Baby Yoda, and they're going to get it for this holiday season.
All right.
So he's completed the job, and we've ran it off the first arc. I love the image that Jacob's gotten here. This is like probably in reference to my favorite moment in the episode. I love bonding with Baby Yoda, and I love this moment of choice for the Mandalorian. I adore the moment where the Mandalorian, again, we communicate so much with not a one facial expression. So wonderfully do we communicate with this little moment of the Baby Yoda unscrewing the knob on like one of the little levers, one of the little, the parking gear or whatever on the ship, and the Mandalorian conveys the sense of humanity, this little sense of like memory over like this little infinitesmal bonding moment. But again, it kind of cements the choice that he makes. It's my favorite moment in the episode. I love it.
Yeah, and later when he reaches for it and he sees the knob isn't there.
That's the moment, right? That's the one I love right there. When he sees it, it tells you everything you need to know. It's such a wonderful performance, even though you don't see the guy's face. It's such a great physical performance.
Yeah, Pedro Pascal really nailed it out of the park. When he barely even, it's kind of like Samurai Jack. He barely even speaks, but when he does, it's important.
It's Favreau going the full Tartakovsky, man.
It's more like him going the full Akira Kurosawa.
Well, sure. I mean that too, but come on, Tartakovsky.
I mean, that's where Tartakovsky got Samurai Jack from. So.
Oh yeah.
So it's only fair to extend it.
You're right.
I mean, don't get me wrong. Don't get me wrong. It's totally Tartakovsky as well. So.
Of course. So yeah, basically, the bigger revelation of the episode is we get more Mandos, more Mandalorians,
more Mandos,
Mando and company. Yes, of course, we get a little bit more of the whole Beskar armor thing. The idea again, the kind of we give our guys some new armor, really kind of some sleek looking armor.
Yeah, I was watching like a video on like that might be the arc of this series, or at least that seemed like to be the arc of the first few episodes, was like him getting a more full set of armor, kind of like how for like Mandalorian religion or culture.
Yeah. And basically, the idea is the Mandalorians kind of, they look out for their own. Honestly, it boils down to the big conflict of probably for the series, but at the very least, kind of put forward in this episode is it's the conflict of lifestyles for the Mandalorian. Am I a Mandalorian, like through and true, or am I a bounty hunter, which is my main occupation, kind of the lifestyle I adopted? But basically, I can't. My heritage is Mandalorian, which of course is why he's soft on Baby Yoda, because he was a foundling, presumably, given these little cryptic flashbacks we're getting, right?
Mhm.
So that's where the humanity's coming from,
Yeah,
which of course is in conflict with the bounty hunter lifestyle. So that's where our main conflict of the whole series is.
Yeah, the flashback was actually pretty terrifying.
Oh, it was.
Like the separatist robot or I forget what then is that.
No,
It's separatist, right?
I think I know that. Yeah, it's the thing. It's the I forget what the name. It's been so long since the prequels. I forgot what we call it. What?
Yeah,
Would it be Imperial?
Maybe.
the only robot name I remember is Droidicas, and those are the ones like the ball.
I know it's a battle droid. It's the elevated battle droid, not like the little like Roger guys, but the other one.
It's the tall gray battle droid, and it aims at him, and then the flashback ends. It's like, what the?
Yeah.
But like it's kind of interesting how we see like a little bit of discord amongst him and the other Mandalorians. Like these have basically been spoiled by the Empire.
Yes.
Or which is kind of interesting. It's basically they're trying to say it's not an honorable way to achieve this.
Yes. Because again, from the looks of things, the Empire, at least the lineage of the Empire, it's all connected by Palpatine, so everyone kind of gets it. It's the whole. It's the idea that this is they attacked our race, they made us foundlings in the first place, and yet you work for them. But again, the Empire is no more the Empire again, because basically one of the great symbols of the series so far seems to be the Beskar steel with like the imprint of the Empire on it, which is kind of that painful reminder every time you smelt it. That's why it's a big old ceremony of things.
And that seems to be the trigger for his memories too.
That as well. Now I have a big question for you two. So Grief Karga, the Carl Weathers character, kind of our lovely, lovely character who kind of gives the Mandalorian his jobs. I love this guy, and thankfully he did not get killed off here. But I do have a question. I have a theory as to why he didn't get killed off.
Okay.
More so. I think the Mandalorian missed intentionally because he demonstrated he was keeping the Beskar steel under around his chest when he showed it to him and he put it back, and the Mandalorian presumably knew that he had it on his person. Again, this guy's given him work. He didn't really do wrong by him. The Mandalorian's gone off the reservation. I'd like to think he shot him. He shot him not to kill. Otherwise, probably shot him in the face or something, or a place where he did not have the Beskar steel.
I mean, you do have a point. I mean, if the Mandalorian wants to shoot to kill, he can shoot to kill.
As I'm saying, see, where do you come on down on, Tiki? You think accident or because again, we've seen our guy is quite human. Again, the guy's almost gotten killed a few times in the field. It could have been an accident by all means, but then again,
I think the Carl Weathers character definitely is kind of a for all we know, he's kind of a father figure to the Mandalorian. So
closest thing he has to a friend, at least,
Exactly. So no, I'm with you. I think that if not explicitly spelled out, I mean, it's interesting because that moment comes at the end of an episode, and then the end of episode 1 is where he just straight up in cold blood just murders IG-11 for all we know.
Yeah, hopefully, again, I'll point out, IG-11 is still on the posters that they're advertising with.
Okay, and you know what else is funny is that when they had like the previously on The Mandalorian, that moment where he shoots IG-11 pops up, so I was like, ooh. But I don't know. We'll see. We'll see what happens.
As it's been stated before by us and by many others, R2's been shot in the head, and he's been A-okay.
Right.
I mean, R2-D2 had like his cap blown off.
He has. He has his top blown.
And C-3PO's basically been dismembered.
That is true.
That is true, yeah.
I mean, it wasn't point blank in the head, but by the same token, R2, he's gotten clipped in the head, though, so, you never know. We don't know. He didn't blow up. That's the delineation. Therefore, it's on the table.
I really liked this episode. I really liked episode 1. I loved episode 2. That's kind of where I'm coming down on it. To me, it's like it's about on the same level as episode 1, but it's not quite to the same sort of like wish fulfillment. Like I feel like a kid playing with my toys that episode 2 got me to. But that being said, episode 2 is my favorite piece of Star Wars media, period, that I've seen in years. So it's a high bar to me, so I'm not like dissing it by saying it doesn't quite live up to episode 2 for me. What's interesting about this episode for me is that I feel like its best strength, and maybe the thing that's holding it back a little for me, is the small town setting. And the reason for that is that I feel like both of the previous episodes have felt really big, really large in scale. And this one, it honestly, like, once we get into like that town, it honestly kind of, maybe it's just the set design, but it kind of just feels like, okay, like the Imperial base is like right around the corner from the Mandalorian hideout, and that's right around the corner from where the bounty hunters are. And I don't know, it just like, it didn't really feel very expansive, but I get the fact that the whole episode's supposed to be like this, it is kind of like the Star Wars Western, it's kind of like the standoff. So I don't know, maybe it's the fact that the Western town doesn't have a desert aesthetic to it, and that maybe throws me off a little bit. But I got to admit that was maybe my only like critique of the episode, and I know it's kind of a nitpick, is that the scale felt pretty small in this episode. It didn't feel as expansive as the other two episodes did. That, and honestly, the middle of the episode was a pretty big exposition dump. Wasn't bad. Interesting stuff in there. Just saying, it was like kind of like a lot of talking.
Well, my read on the location thing is, Tiki, when I really think about it, I think this complements the thing of the episode, where again, this whole episode is about choice, where we set up the status quo of, okay, in the 3 episodes, gets a job, completes it goes on the adventure of the job in 2, and he returns to get the payment and et cetera, et cetera. And importantly, the Mandalorian, in his status quo, he's about to go off and keep on going with the job. He's probably going to get more Beskar steel for all we know. He and Carl Weathers are in really, good spirits and everything. And that, okay, well, you should take a little break, kind of relax a little bit. And he says, I go off. And poor being, he was offered to go to. Here's the thing: I knew in the episode, the minute he said, like, we're going to basically go after Amon Calamari, he was going to have to go to probably an undersea planet. Of saying, we're not going to have a budget for that. So I'll be honest.
I would love to see a Mon Calamari planet, though. I will admit that.
I gotta be honest. The show's been impressing me so much. I wouldn't be asking to subvert my expectations. Maybe we will. We could go there. I don't think we will, honestly. But then again, they have a season 2 in the works, so I wouldn't rule anything out. My point is, regardless, is the fact that we set up a status quo of, okay, he could keep on going, and regardless, he's breaking the cycle, so we're not going to be returning to this plan, at least probably not for a long while. Unless we go back to like another showdown by the end of the season. Even then, I doubt it. The point being, I think we're breaking the status quo with, like, okay, we return the base, we're seeing what the show would be, but now we've taken the right turn. It's kind of the Breaking Bad thing, where it's like, it's the whole gray matter of it all. It's like we've offered him
call to action.
Yes, the call to action, or kind of the gray matter of, like, we've given him the solution. He has everything he could ever want right now, but something's keeping him going.
And he has a whole tail of probably like every bounty hunter in the area is going to be after him now.
A lot of fobs. Those are a lot of fobs after that little green guy.
So that was like interesting. It's like when all the fobs lit up, I was like, oh.
I love that idea that now that the bounty has been stolen, it's like it's back on the market, which means all those fobs, they come back online. That's what's going to chase him down wherever he goes. Those fobs are going to be after him.
And it's like, technically, he brought the bounty to them.
And he kind of, and that's how he kind of stole them. Yeah.
Because remember, nobody wanted to take the job. He completed it, but now that he's got it back, it's all fair game again.
Yep. He's in that Mandalorian. He's a wonderful character. He's in deep trouble though.
It's like one final moment though, is like when another Mandalorian flies by and flies ship, like, I gotta get me one of those.
Yep, I love it. We saw him without the pack in episode 2, and now he's eyeing the pack. And again, the little tip of the hat, like, what, folks? Again, not Boba Fett, but he could use a few of the trimmings. He could.
He's definitely not Boba Fett. We know that for a fact because this is post episode 6. And he does not have a jetpack. So there you go.
I'll say it again, folks. I'll say it again. If you want to get all the monies, and all the praise and all the claps, you're gonna end this season off with, like, Boba Fett coming out of the Sarlacc pit, giving a job, like, take down the Mandalorian.
The great thing about that is, of course, Boba Fett and Mando are both obviously Mandalorian bounty hunters. Mm-hmm. So if anyone is going to emphasize with Mando's position, and yet still be cold-blooded enough to like chase him down, it's going to be Boba Fett.
Absolutely.
I'm just saying, for the sake of storytelling, you have to introduce Boba Fett.
It's entirely possible.
Another bit of trivia: the person who directed this episode, she's actually going to be directing the Obi-Wan miniseries.
Oh yeah, I'm glad you mentioned that. Yeah,
that's good. And you know what? In bringing that up, I love the fact that right now things seem to be in a good place. We're going to have Mandalorian, and presumably, if I'm a betting man, I'm going to say after season 2, which probably will be next year, probably going to be next year after a certain point. I imagine they're going to take their time shooting presumably a third season. In the place of the third season, we're going to have the Obi-Wan series.
Yeah, I think the Obi-Wan series is definitely coming along. Yeah,
which is a great idea and a great way of kind of supplementing the 2 shows, and also, and I'm guessing, I'm doing some guesswork on that, but imagine they're going to be shooting the Obi-Wan show as Mandalorian season 2 will be airing, and everything seems to be falling into place quite naturally and being a good way of like. Even without movies kind of at play, I think we're going to be in good shape. And I think it's kind of the breather that we need, honestly, especially after Rise of Skywalker. There's going to be all that, like, oh man, it's going to be, or Star Wars, the whole Skywalker saga is done. Let's not fire into a new trilogy quite yet. And we're just going to chill out with some Star Wars, some quality Star Wars series like Mandalorian, hopefully, fingers crossed, Obi-Wan.
Yep.
All
right. So while we're talking about Star Wars, and this is a really sloppy transition.
Yes, it is.
I was gonna make a parable to Michael Eisner being the Emperor.
Why don't you just make a Star Tours parable?
Yeah, right. All right. So yeah, we get in the Imagineering Story episode 3. Oh man, we get something that I was really hoping we would get, which is a Michael Eisner interview, boy.
I'm still shocked that we got him.
I was actually surprised considering how he had to leave. But I was like when I saw I usually watch my stuff with captions, and I saw Michael. I was like, I wonder if that's like an archive recording or something. But I was like, no. But I was like, holy shit! They actually got Michael Eisner himself.
Michael frickin' Eisner.
I mean, I'm telling you guys, Eisner, the more time passes, the more respect I have for the man. And this episode just showcases that. I mean, I know the man had a downfall, and we're going to get to that downfall in episode 4, and I'm super stoked to see it. Don't get me wrong. But man, at the height of that dude's career, that dude was on fire.
I mean,
now, Tiki, you're going to have to go on.
I mean, there's a reason why it's called the Midas touch.
So remind me, Tiki, was Eisner's downfall specifically tied to the theme parks?
No. It was kind of all over the place.
So that's the question. I wonder how much focus we're going to give to, because obviously it's going to be important, because of course there's a whole power struggle. We're going to have to hand it over and acknowledge new change in leadership. So presumably it's going to be on stage. It's a question of how explicit we're going to be with it.
I think part of it was also attributed to Frank's death.
Yeah.
Well, that was definitely the turning point, because as we saw in the episode, really well illustrated, it'd be as if, hypothetically, if Roy Disney died and then Walt Disney kind of went off the rails and, a lot of his stuff, he just didn't know how to finance himself. In an alternate universe where that happened, it was kind of like the Wells and Michael Eisner era, because in a lot of ways, Frank Wells really was the Roy to Michael's Walt. He was. I mean, specifically, those two guys were a pair. They were brought on together. They were very much buddies. And that's the thing. It really did hurt Eisner when Wells. That wasn't just purely a business thing with him. I got to be honest. I don't want to throw too much either. I mean, Katzenberg, look. I know. I'm sure he cared. I'm just saying. I think Katzenberg is like the real life Disney villain.
And well, he's definitely complicated to say the least. That's the thing.
Whereas Michael Eisner, I feel like, is like the Anton Ego of Disney figures. He's like the polarizing, controversial figure.
Say what you will about Michael Eisner, especially during his later years, but the company probably won't even be around if it wasn't for him and Frank.
I really think that Michael Eisner is him and Frank are almost 100% to thank for better or for worse, for Disney being in the media conglomerate that it is today, So,
speaking of which, so that kind of brings
it would be kind of interesting though if they did get if there was they had some kind of input from Katzenberg in this. I mean, because
Yeah, it would be interesting.
I mean, because technically, despite the fact that he would like wanted his position, and that's the reason why Frank's position, and that's why he left to basically make DreamWorks. And like even like the recent years and stuff like that, he hasn't really shown any qualms against the company itself. Like mainly like so, like it would be kind of interesting to like see him get some input on here.
All right. Well, first off, again, the thing overall I really love with this chapter in the story is this is very much the chapter that's kind of a kind of a. It feels like an extra chapter of Waking Sleeping Beauty, the documentary.
It does, yeah.
It's kind of like okay, we focus on the filmmaking side and the animation side of that in that documentary. Of course, now we get the theme park side of it here, and that's just fantastic. Now, speaking of, so I'll make a note that again, Katzenberg, from what I recall, Katzenberg, I forget if I don't think Eisner led the charge. I want to say Katzenberg is the one who led the charge on like let's go Hollywood with like really let's put emphasis on like the stable of stars, and Eisner kind of continued the ball where that was going. Not 100%, but the point that I know Katzenberg was the one. He was the one that famously who kicked the animators out of their building for the stars. So I'm presuming that Katzenberg was the one who kind of ushered in that change, regardless. So I mean that in that sense, Katzenberg was kind of involved in that. But Eisner, you're right. Eisner did build the brand. Of course, that gets the very much kind of the IP era of Disney. It's kind of what this chapter is all about. This chapter is mainly about okay, so we've
I mean, technically, I guess it's unlikely for him to be in the Imagineering because he was like more in like because Katzenberg was more in like the theatrical and like
he was
like more in the movie production side rather than the theme park and creative side.
So essentially, this episode is the answer to what next. So again, episode 1 is okay. It's all the Walt stuff, and then essentially Dad's dead. That's the end of part 1. Episode 2 is okay. Let's finish out the vision of what Walt had. Then we get okay. So we've done everything. Well, now we've run out of like kind of the last writings of the great master. Now what do we do next? And this episode is all about what. Okay, here's what we do next. Hollywood Studios, MGM. It's getting the licenses. It's Star Tours. It's Indiana Jones. It's Muppet Vision. It's the Great Movie
Thunder Mountain, which is totally presented in the wrong order, which kind of bothers me.
Well, again, there's a lot of stuff to get in there.
Yeah, I know.
But here's the stuff that kind of blew my mind. Like, I love the whole. I never occurred to me. And Euro Disney may not have gone off without a hitch when it first came.
No.
Did not.
Okay, Dragon. I tell you that was the tipping point for Eisner. That was, that was the moment where Eisner went from the visionary Renaissance man to the penny pusher.
And of course, like the literal, just like I just love the man was literally pelted by eggs by a crowd in France. He literally. Here's the one thing. Okay, if there was one thing I critique Miss Leslie Eisner I works with here. Is if she used the clip of Hunchback of Notre Dame when Quasimodo was being pelted by the eggs.
Oh my god!
It wouldn't have really it probably wouldn't have made much sense because I think the time would have been off of like the production of that versus the whole year. I don't know.
Right.
The point being, it would have been for our own amusement, maybe a deleted scene or something. Regardless, okay. No, in all seriousness, this is but yeah, this is the kind of stuff I'm really digging from the documentary so far. We're kind of like making some observations. We're kind of seeing sides of the events that we weren't quite maybe not aware of. Like it wasn't just like ill received; it was literally really ill received by pedestrians. Mickey's not welcome here. Get him out! Throwing eggs at Michael Eisner. And that's the thing of Eisner. Eisner again. Every time I think of Eisner, I keep thinking of the guy. He did care. He was definitely intimidating as all get out, but the man did care. He put an effort into it.
He even scared Chernobog once.
Precisely. It's the whole. It's like Eisner again. He would do the promos and everything. He kind of aspired to being the next.
Hello,
I'm Michael Eisner. That whole thing, like when Mickey Mouse is putting his hands over Eisner's eyes, like, oh, what wonderful thing is happening in the studio now? It's that whole thing. Like the Michael Eisner, the guy's pieing Frank Wells in the face, like that's that sort of stuff. Like there's a charm to Eisner for sure. I think we showcased that, and I think I'm hoping the next chapter we're going to see that the Hollywood limo thing. The what was it, Tiki?
Superstar limo, yeah,
Superstar limo. Yeah.
Well, I can guarantee you that next chapter we're going to get into the Disneyland Paris thing was a flop because it was kind of like they mismanaged the audience in Paris.
And not to mention the poor timing.
Yeah. And California Adventure is a flop on a creative level, at least DCA 1.0. So we are about to get into the first thing that Disney designed that was just from top to bottom, pretty much, just for lack of a better term, almost creatively bankrupt. I mean, DCA 1.0 consisted of like opening day stuff. It was like a bunch of spinny rides. It was a bunch of clones of like 3D theater stuff. And then you had like California Screamin', Grizzly River Run, which honestly isn't that great of a rapid rides. And then the anchor was Soarin' Over California. So like, I'm sure they're going to talk about Soarin' Over California. We're going to see the fucking Imagineer with the erector set. But
man, so negatively charged on that one.
I'm just sick of seeing that guy on every Travel Channel special. I'm sorry, I get it with the erector set, dude.
It's like, and that one bleeping guy with the erector set. It's always
like,
that
hey,
one
we can
guy.
fucking raise the people into the theater. Oh my god. It's not the most innovative thing Disney's ever come up with. I'm sorry.
So far for me, again, this episode 3 kind of has been the most personal chapter for me because again, this is the stuff I grew up on with.
I think episode 4 might even be more personal in terms of just I really think episode 4 is going to be a tragedy for Eisner. I really think that's how they're going to frame it, because the thing with Eisner is that Eisner, at the end of the day, he really didn't do anything that bad. He was just kind of caught up in a perfect storm of like things going wrong, like the Frank Wells thing and Disneyland Paris flopping. And because of that, he was almost kind of written into a corner where there was basically nothing he could do that was going to look good. So I really am excited to see and one thing I hope to get into with Eisner, being as though he was such a presence in this episode, I really hope, I don't know if they will. I don't know if they will, because it is a controversial subject even to this day amongst the Disney community. But I really hope they get into the Save Disney campaign.
Well, they probably will.
We'll see. We'll see.
All right. Okay.
Monkey said that would be amazing if they do indeed talk Superstar Limo. Yeah.
I here's the thing. I imagine that would be the back, because that's a very infamous attraction, correct? I mean, obviously that one's gonna, if that's as infamous as I believe it to be. Honestly, I'm gonna be. I think episode 4 might be the most learning experience I'm gonna have with all this stuff. Honestly, in terms of kind of going into, because again, this is chapter 3 episode 3 is the most familiar I would probably be with anything. Because again, that's like where we get our Star Tours or Muppet Vision. And that's all the kind of the old familiar trimmings, as well as kind of the Eisner of it all. Superstar Limo could be like the great backdrop kind of footage that we see. Like, let's see where Eisner went wrong. Like the literal.
I don't really think we're gonna get a lot of Superstar Limo, but I'm sure they'll acknowledge it. I mean, they have to.
Well, what I'm saying is, I think they could artfully acknowledge in that. Again, if it's like a car crash of what's about to happen to Michael Eisner, what perfect footage could you have where it's literally stable of stars and all this going on here, and it's just like, hey, Eisner had this idea, it really didn't pan out. And again, basically, if you're gonna have a beginning of the end clip or a little thing to start things off, that's what you're gonna use. Sure. I imagine. Yeah.
All right, so let's get into the world according to Goldblum. Okay, I continue to love this show. I
have
don't
2
know
words.
What to tell you guys. Yeah.
Jeff Goldblum. Oh, wait. Okay, sorry, 3 words. Jeff Goldblum Day.
Right. Okay, I got to admit, guys, something came to me while watching this episode. I almost hesitate to say what it is because I feel like it might give away part of my debate strategy tomorrow night. Guys, I don't know if I'm being hyperbolic when I say this. It might be too early to tell. I'm not saying it's as meaningful or as impactful as what I'm about to reference here. But watching the show 3 episodes in, it's kind of got a Mr. Rogers vibe to it.
I already said that, yeah.
Okay, I'm sorry. Just the way that he interacts with the people, and he's just so enthusiastic to learn things, and you get to learn things along with them, and it's almost kind of like a personable, hey, come along with me and we'll see some cool stuff together, I don't know. There's just something so wholesome about that. My favorite segment in this episode was definitely the Polynesian tattoos. I genuinely that. To me was I'm into Polynesian culture, and I know a little bit about the the tattoos, But that segment was genuinely like the best education that I've ever gotten on those tattoos, because it was easily digestible. It was, informative, but it was entertaining at the same time, and it was a little bit heartwarming, and it was like kind of all those things wrapped up into one. And I love seeing Goldblum's reaction to it. I feel like Goldblum was genuinely touched by getting to witness it. He was just I don't know. To me, this episode might be the most emotionally resonant out of all of them. Like, I feel like the sneakers episode was kind of like a really fun, like, oh my god, look at all this cash flying around everywhere, and
basically basically sneaker sets the tone, ice cream sets the whimsy, and now this sets the emotion.
This one really kind of gets into like the heart of it.
It also kind of gets into the whole this whole very Goldblum centric thing of like all these all Goldblum David, all these tattoos of Jeff Goldblum that people have in their bodies. So it's kind of like necessitating the show.
The nice thing is like the Jeff Goldblum date never really felt like self-indulgent on his part.
Yeah. Here's my favorite thing in the whole episode. My favorite detail. And I was wondering. Here's the thing. I was expecting a cliche, and they subverted it so wonderfully here. And again, it also plays as a wonderful educational effect for those who may not be aware. Of course, very classically, people of the Jewish faith, they cannot get tattoos, because if they get tattoos, they cannot be buried in the Jewish cemetery. And he made a point that I felt so stupid that I never quite put it together. Usually, I kind of go by the logic. Okay, if you're, I go by the rule. I've never gone by like the rationale behind the rule. Like, yeah, the whole death camp thing. Obviously, that's how it'd be.
Yeah, a little bit frowned upon. Yeah,
that's what I'm saying. Like the whole, the reason they have all the basically, it's like okay, people with tattoos, the Jewish people with tattoos are not allowed to be buried in the Jewish cemetery. Yeah, that, but I never thought as to the why. It's like, oh yeah, the whole the whole negative tattoo thing. Yeah, that's probably why.
Okay,
makes sense.
I honestly never knew that Jeff Goldblum was Jewish.
Well, yeah, he is. Goldblum, man.
Goldblum. Okay, with that in mind, I kind of feel like it maybe was a little bit unwise for them to market the preview of this episode of like Goldblum like, I'm gonna get a tattoo of myself on myself, which is like in the episode it's like a totally out of context, like he's obviously joking around sort of clip.
But this is the subversion that I love. I love that we didn't do the cliche of like, he's gonna get the tattoo, and it's like that would have been so wrong on a few levels, man. Because like, I don't want to see Goldblum get a tattoo, but more especially the faith of it all. I don't want to get a tattoo.
I mean, like if he wasn't Jewish, all right, if that wasn't a factor, then I would fucking love to see him get like an Ian Malcolm on him.
Oh, sure, certainly. But
that would be a lot of fun.
It's the fact that Jeff Goldblum seems at the start, whether even taking the Jewish faith thing out of it, it's the fact he didn't seem like a tattoo guy. He wanted to learn about tattoos. Didn't necessarily want a tattoo. I love that he didn't give him the peer pressure. Like, what's good for the show? I'm going to get a tattoo.
And talk about different. I'm not gonna. I mean, I really like the Polynesian thing too. But to differentiate things, I think another cool part was the whole technological tattoo section.
Oh yeah,
no,
you're right. That was really cool.
I love the temporary tattoo. That was great. That's what I'm talking about.
Like the one that detects sunlight, and ones that could like in the future detect like, you need to drink more water, or you need to watch your diet or whatever.
We're all familiar with temporary tattoos from our youth. The old like you put like a washcloth or something on it, you basically imprint the tattoo. We're all familiar with that, but now we've taken it to the next level. And just look, it's awesome, man. It's gadgetry and tattoo is awesome. It's like freaking Blind Spot, man.
Mm-hmm.
The TV show, the girl Jamie Alexander's all the tattoos that kind of reveal clues and mystery. Never mind.
Memento.
Or that one too. Regardless, I want to say is I really wasn't Alexander Graham? Didn't he like link the Graham Bell for like the whole invention of the tattooing press? Or am I thinking okay, the whole like tapping idea?
He credited like Edison for the. I think it was Edison. Like he perfected the light bulb, and like he was like Edison was like trying to do something to like print something on multiple sheets of paper at once.
No, I think you're right because I was wondering if it was. I assume Graham Bell because the whole tapping motion of the thing, but I think you might be right.
I mean, technically, Graham. I mean, I don't really know, but that he's like, but that's set the tone for, or is that the future for electric tattooing?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
So I thought that was actually pretty interesting. I mean, the show is informative in some minor ways.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not the most educational thing on there, but it's just like a kind of just like a lot of fun, like little tidbits here and there. It's like it's comfort edutainment.
Okay.
Oh yeah. I was going to say, do we know what the theme for next week is going to be?
Well, I didn't look into it. Not yet. I mean, it tells you in the
Okay.
sneak peek, but I try to go into them fresh. So
What was it?
Well,
it's not a big deal. I mean, it does. I like to go into them fresh, but if you really
Yeah.
want to bring it up, I
It's
can't
fine.
stop you. I'm gonna have to look into it for this. Well, that it doesn't matter.
Okay, so with that in mind, we are going to go ahead and switch gears from the recaps.
Oh wait, there's one more. Tig, there's one.
What?
There's Forky.
Oh, Forky, right? Okay, sorry, Monkey. Sorry, hold off.
Apparently, the next thing is denim.
Right.
Monkey,
Okay, so
you're not late. Oh, I'm sorry. I thought that was Monkey commenting. In Human Quake, yeah, unfortunately, you are late. We literally just got done finishing talking about the 3 series, but we're going to talk about the stuff we've been watching in the archives. We're going to get to Forky right now, though. Hold on. I'm going to... Hold on one sec. Hey, Monkey.
Hello, everyone.
Hey there. We're just going to talk about the Forky short really quick. Have you seen it?
Yes, I have.
Okay, cool. So we'll just bring you on right now, Monkey. You've definitely got the big headliner Tales from the Vault this week, and I'm excited to get to that. But actually, since Inhuman Quake's coming in, we gave our thoughts on Mandalorian, Jeff Goldblum, and Imagineering Story. But Monkey, just for the record, any thoughts on them from your end?
Mandalorian is excellent. Imagineering Story is really cool. I haven't watched the Goldblum thing yet. I'd rather not get into why just now. But
Okay.
yeah, and let's talk about Encore some other time. So.
All right, fair enough.
Yeah.
Okay, so with that in mind, Dragon, lead the charge on this week's Forky.
All right, so Forky asked a question this week. The question is, what is art? So this one is about acting. This is Mr. Prickle Pants. He's coming by, which kind of bugs me. A little nitpick though. They did the thing, and this is not it's not as egregious like a recasting as like you'll find in Frozen 2, folks. This is at least something that does happen, especially with a lot of the Pixar, some of the Pixar shorts, where they can't always get the stars, and sometimes you need a fill-in. In this case, Mr. Prickle Pants is not voiced by the wonderful Timothy Dalton. He is voiced by, I believe, Robin Atkin Downs. Fine actor, right, but not exactly. When I hear Prickle Pants, not the guy I'm thinking of. It's like sometimes, many a time, in anything outside of the movies, you'll have Jim Hanks instead of Tom Hanks, that sort of thing.
Mm-hmm.
Anyways, pretty much it's Prickle Pants, the kind of the resident thespian of the Bonnie's brigade of toys, and Miss Prickle Pants is giving a little acting lesson to Forky, and it's quite funny. Yeah, we have this running gag through the shorts so far. Where we have Bob Peterson has been directing and writing these so far. Of course, the co-director.
And announcing them.
Yes, and announcing them. And he's been basically a co-director of Up. Very funny guy. Pixar voice of Roz from Monsters Inc. And oddly enough, the running gag through this seems to be that when we need an emotional theme, we keep playing the Monsters Inc. music. Which cracks me up. It really does.
I mean, that's funny, but you know what tune we should be playing, Dragon?
The Inside Out music.
Funny, I didn't realize until this episode that it was Monsters Inc. music. I just assumed it was from another Toy Story movie.
Yeah, it's like the Boo Goodbye theme, where he's saying with the door and everything.
I noticed that in the credits and didn't put one and one together.
Yep. And basically,
Randy Newman.
Yep. So basically, we had a few fun acting gags. That's kind of the long and short of it. Basically, Forky seems to be a consummate actor, and basically, kind of like not getting it, kind of as the performance at a few places. Yeah, it's quite funny. I don't know if it's as funny as the last week's episode about the coffee mug, but what? No.
Yeah. Last week's was the best.
Yeah, so far. All
right. So let's move into Tales from the Vault. Vault. All right, Monkey, this is why you're here. I'm going to throw it to you. What have you been watching?
So I've been watching the 1990s Little Mermaid cartoon series from television.
Yes, television.
Well, it was on television in the 90s. Now it's on Disney Plus. So, yes, it's a TV series, is it not?
No,
Yes.
definitely is.
Well, okay, so I figured it's here on Disney Plus to watch, and I never really seen it before. I like Little Mermaid. It's a Disney series based on a film it's a series that doesn't include a particular actor who's still a little bit of a personal trigger, unfortunately. So okay, going ahead. That's all I'm gonna say on that. So that's not all I'm gonna say about The Little Mermaid. Also, just little note, this is one of the series that has its pilot episode missing. Why is that a thing, Disney Plus?
An excellent question. Again, still the out of order thing. It's weird.
Yeah, I mean, I eventually just found it on Dailymotion, which was more painless than I expected. Nevertheless, it's a thing. So much for everything on Disney Plus.
Okay, let me ask you this: did you watch through the whole thing, or just you?
Yeah, I've gotten through the whole series over the last week or so. I wrapped it up today, actually.
Now, you're sure you didn't see it at some point? Again, it might have just been really out of place. Are you sure you never came across the pilot?
What?
Are you sure you never came across the pilot? It wasn't just somewhere. I'm saying it might be there, but it might be really deeply.
The pilot isn't on Disney Plus.
Okay, fair enough.
No.
How many episodes is that, Monkey? Dear God.
Season 1 is 14, season 2 is 9, season 3 is 8. So not a lot.
Okay, that isn't a lot. Okay.
So it's not.
That actually sounds way more reasonable.
I
than
mean, chances are they just broke it up in a really odd way. I mean, if I'm a betting man,
all the other episodes are there. And again, this is a thing with other Disney Plus shows.
I think they lumped all the recess seasons into a third season. So that's what I'm saying. They probably broke it up.
At least those are there. Like I've noticed, like old DuckTales and Darkwing Duck pilots aren't there. So anyway, so I'm watching the series, and season 1 is kind of a feeling of like, yeah, it's not a bad show. It's nothing super special, but it's nice. It's cool I like spending more time with these characters. Like, say, it's nice to hear more of Ken Mars's Triton. And then I think
I remember Triton and Sebastian have a fun, like, back and forth in that show.
Something like that. I mean, Sebastian, maybe more so in the third season, can be a little off or something. I don't know. Anyway, but whatever. So I realized this it's the 4th episode overall, but the 3rd on Disney Plus. It's around there that I'll just make my thesis statement here. This show is a mindfuck. Yeah.
Yeah, I've heard.
I mean, in the first episode, the first one I watched, I didn't get the feeling as much, aside from are those donuts? They have donuts? How did they have donuts? Which apparently, I guess they have some equivalents of our foods, but through seaweed. So like seaweed donuts, seaweed pasta, seaweed pizza. There's pizza in The Little Mermaid. But then you get to the season 2 premiere. Sebastian makes seaweed hot dogs. They taste disgusting, and someone's like, "What's this made out of? Seaweed?"
Doesn't Triton have magic? Couldn't he just make donuts? I mean, they wouldn't. Maybe just he's treating himself some actually good food for a change.
I don't know. Underwater rules or something. But anyway, so the point where it really, for me, started feeling like one is at the start of this episode I was alluding to earlier, fourth, the third one I saw, where it starts with some lobster mobster who sounds like Edward G. Robinson. He's like, "I'm taking over this rock, see? I'm taking over this here seaweed, see? I'm taking over this here fishing net, see?" It's like, what am I watching?
Oh, God.
Oh, well, I didn't know what I was in for, but yeah, it's Joe Alasky doing the voice, and his sidekick is David Lander. So
hey, Squiggy.
Yeah. And we get some weird stuff in this series. It feels odd. Like, some of the stuff happening, some of the creatures to appear. And then, it's just throwing it out there. I do wish we'd gotten to see more of, like, Ariel's sisters and, like, how she interacts with them. We get that with, like, 2 sisters in towards the end of the first season. That's it. But yeah, so then we come into the second season and it becomes weirder. Like, you get, like, say, there's this red tide destroying everything that turns out to just be a bunch of little red bug things or something. So, like,
What?
yeah, and Sebastian's like, what? Oh, that's all you were? That's all the red tide is? Just these bugs? Well, you need to stop. You need to stay away from here and from living things. And they're like, oh, okay. Which somebody had told us. They go away.
Oh, God.
And then you get this thing next episode, like, this Ariel finds a harp that's fallen off a ship, but Trident wants her to play a calliope. But turns out the calliope is, like, waking up some Cyclops who's been trying to sleep for 1,000 years. So you get this Cyclops creature, and then you have this weird running, like, at one point in the middle of the episode, the Cyclops is, like, coming towards the castle. We go back to the ship where the harp fell from, and the sailor's like, oh, sorry we lost your harp, Mr. Mozart, but we'll take good care of your piano. So Mozart's here. And then the piano falls off, hits the Cyclops, and then, like, a few moments later, sorry we lost your harp and your piano, but we'll take good care of your bathtub. Bathtub falls off, hits the Cyclops.
I sense a running gag.
And then a few minutes later, it's like, look, Mr. Mozart, a shooting star. The shooting star falls through the water and hits the Cyclops. And then the next episode is Blackfish.
I'm sorry, are you saying it's like Blackfish or it's actually called Blackfish?
It's like Blackfish. It's kind of.
Oh.
That's a comparison I'll make where, like, this whale that Ariel befriended in that pilot that's not on Disney Plus shows back up, and it gets captured by this guy who runs a, like, what's it, like a, I know the description says crazed circus owner. I'm not sure that's the best description, but it's like he has this, like, he's the person running an aquatic animal show who doesn't treat the animals all that well type. I think Clive Revel does the voice, whatever. And he also mainly has, like, these penguins who are clearly, like, the Mary Poppins penguins. Because, Disney. And then, I'm just gonna, you get stuff like this weird bad luck creature who you think is male throughout all the episode, and then at the end it randomly gives birth to a bunch of babies.
Oh, God.
And then you have this grumpy Jim Cummings sorcerer fish who speaks in rhyme and casts a spell on Ariel so that she creates sea quakes whenever she laughs. Let's see. Yeah, a few episodes later, you have, like, Ursula pretending to be Sebastian, like a crab sorceress, to trick Sebastian into getting her something. I was like, oh, I know who you are. Oh, you do? You're my fairy crab mother. Right. And the fake spell she uses on Sebastian is like, abracadabra. They're not giving me the stone. Let's see, the penultimate episode, there's a lot about some of the weirdness with that revolves around a twist at the end, but I won't say what, but it is kind of awkward funny. At the very end, like, you have Kenneth Mars do a little narration saying, like, you can find Hans Christian Andersen's stories at your library. And then the final episode of season 2, there was a point where I'm like, okay, this has got to be a dream where Ariel gets magic powers and makes Sebastian bigger. but he just keeps getting bigger. So
Oh,
I'm figuring this whole thing is like, okay, it's going to turn out to be a dream. Like they showed Ariel going to bed at one point. It's going to be a dream. It wasn't a dream. No, she eventually just says, I wish this had never happened, and that solves everything.
Okay.
Well, it's about as convenient as the ending of Frozen 2.
Hey.
Come
No,
on. Yeah,
but
this is way more convenient or something.
yes, but no.
I'm just kidding.
So I'm wondering, is season 3 going to get weirder? And, it starts off, there is some weird stuff like these pirates and Sebastian's parents.
Oh God, what's that like?
Does Sebastian's father have a mustache?
No. They come to the incorrect assumption that Sebastian is the king.
Oh God.
Oh, it's one of those stories like, please help me impress my parents.
It's like an I'm stupid.
Anyway, so nothing weird. Some weird stuff, but not weird yet. And then we get to season 3, episode 3.
Yeah, you've been hyping this up, boy.
Yeah, they notice some human-caused pollution that's getting into the sea. They go to find the source, and it's like some creepy building with lightning surrounding it. And it turns out it's from some blue-skinned, evil, mad scientist who does experiments on crabs.
Is this show set in the 90s, or is it in the same time period as Little Mermaid? Because right now I'm
Same time period as Little Mermaid, because like I said, Mozart had that silent cameo.
Yeah.
Guttle mentions that he helped inspire Beethoven's Fifth. Okay, that twist of that other episode is that this guy turns out to be Hans Christian Andersen.
Right.
Yeah.
So yeah, this is really. It's from the sound of it. It sounds like it's just very culturally confused on what it wants to be.
But anyway, so you have this, blue-skinned evil scientist who does experiments on crabs. So he has all these huge mutated crab creatures.
So is this a Kim Possible crossover or not?
Yeah, exactly.
I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
And then Sebastian befriends this boy who works for the evil scientist and looks like a male Wednesday Addams, and he's working for the scientist because his family needs the money or something. And
honestly, that does sound like something Draken would do.
And you can't quite tell because the kid is, the actor voicing the kid is younger, but the actor voicing the kid is apparently Mr. But I Was Hungry himself,
Oh no, really? Oh God.
Oh God.
I couldn't tell until
But I was hungry.
old man don't believe in otters. So yeah, I didn't know until the credits that it was him because, like I said, he's younger. You don't recognize the voice. Anyway, so yeah, I finished watching that, and I'm like, okay, that was the weirdest one yet. And then the next episode happens.
Let me guess. Challenge accepted.
Tiki, you saw my thing, I take it? The post I made on Facebook?
I think so, yeah.
So yeah, they go, north to a winter resort to take a vacation, and Ariel resurrects dinosaurs.
The dinosaurs. Goldblum
Okay.
like this. Goldblum is just like, this is not a good idea, Ariel.
And it turns out okay, so first off, the dinosaurs were still, because these dinosaurs have been frozen in ice for however long, so they were still alive. Anyway, but yeah, she thaws the dinosaurs, and that wasn't a good decision. And the dinosaurs are somehow able to, breathe and walk around underwater. And then, Ariel's like, oh no, the dinosaurs are headed for the Winterland Resort. So that's a thing Ariel said. It's weird to hear, Ariel and Trident just talking about dinosaurs.
Because it's an ID show, so they got to get those sweet dinosaur money in there somehow.
Yeah, Trident is like, dinosaurs! And then later, he thaws the ice to make them.
90s.
Basically, they
Later,
jumped
he-
the executive. Instead of jumping the shark, they jumped.
And at the end, he rejuvenates some hot springs to make the area better for the dinosaurs. So like, well, now the dinosaurs can live as they were intended to, thanks to you. Like, you realize what you just said, King Triton? What you just said, Kenneth Mars? Now the dinosaurs can... Fucking dinosaurs!
I do want to state for the record, Legend of Tarzan did have dinosaurs in it, but handled it a lot better.
I mean, at least there, Pellucidar made sense.
Yes, Pellucidar was awesome. Anyway,
and it's actually based on I think it's actually based on an actual Edgar Rice Burroughs story.
That's what I'm saying, man. That's how you do dinosaurs in an anachronistic period, man. That's how you do it.
Right, and let me ask you something about Legend of Tarzan. Did they have an Ant-Man episode?
Sorry, an Ant-Man episode?
Not Ant-Man the superhero.
No, I'm
like a Gulliver's Travels, like Little People.
Give me a second. Buzz Lightyear Star Command did not Tarzan, no.
Okay, because that is an Edgar Rice Burroughs story, like a deep cut Tarzan.
It makes more sense for the Ice Age movies to have dinosaurs. That's closer in the time period.
And also, they kind of did have some kind of a whole pollution based episode too. In Tarzan.
Yes, they did. It was a good one.
But yeah. I mean, what better description than fucking dinosaurs? Did not see that coming.
Was there a motherfucking T-Rex?
I believe so, yeah.
God. All right.
So weird. Dinosaurs underwater. Ariel and Triton talking about dinosaurs.
All right. Did that mentally break you? Any other episodes?
There are other episodes. It never gets quite as weird as the dinosaurs. I mean, there is some weird stuff and, some odd moral or two, there's one episode, the moral is how easy it is to forgive. So that. And yeah, Ron Perlman guest starred. It turns out the Tim Curry villain has a son who's not that evil.
Oh, God. What about Ursula?
Ursula shows up a few times. She's not in the first season, which makes me wonder if they were going to plan to have her at all.
I love her in the Garfield Christmas special, too, by the way. Just want to mention
that. Yes.
But yeah, so, yeah, like I mentioned, I mentioned that bit before where Ursula pretended to be a crab enchantress. And,
all right.
So, yeah, that was... So yeah, Little Mermaid series, not what I expected in kind of an amazing way.
Good amazing or bad amazing?
Ironic amazing.
Well, that works too.
And yeah, you gotta love it's a show that has a bunch of songs, but what's easily the best one is I wouldn't be surprised if this was intentional, that they made sure the song about how good diversity is the best song. It's the one memorable song in this show. I mean, except possibly the Ursula one, but even then, that's not really memorable. It's just sort of odd. I keep a potion in my purse to do so much worse. You wouldn't want to mess with me.
Oh, God, I love 90s kid songs.
So Ursula has a purse.
Ashman and Menken, they ain't.
All right, Monkey. Well, thank you for joining us on Tales from the Vault. I ask you one more thing, because you've been kind of preaching it for about a couple weeks now, and I don't know what it is.
The Barefoot Executive?
Yes.
Okay, so The Barefoot Executive is a movie from, I want to say, 1971 or so. It's a Kurt Russell movie. I had the VHS as a small, as a child. I'm sure it's got to still be around somewhere, but I don't know where. And it's Kurt Russell and this chimp who it turns out can predict what's going to get the best ratings on TV.
Oh, man.
Monkey!
All right.
So yeah, barely remember the movie itself. I just remember a few parts of it. They said it was going to be on Disney Plus. Disney Plus launches. It's not there. Liars.
Yeah.
Just, while we're talking about Disney Plus lying, so they say Three Little Pigs is presented as it was originally made. That was a lie.
No,
I can understand why, but you're allowing other, ethnically insensitive stuff on your platform. So if you're going to change it, if you're going to keep this re-edited version, okay, just don't lie about it.
I mean, to be fair, they also did crop a bit of Fantasia, and but that's also that's probably for a better reason though.
Yeah,
I'm saying the Fantasia stuff that they cropped that's been out of runs of Fantasia since the '60s.
Exactly.
I know, but like I said, also but like I said, for very good reason.
Yeah.
All right. Okay, Monkey. Well, I will go ahead and let you go. Thanks for joining us on
Thanks for having me.
What?
Thanks for having me.
Yeah. All right. Thanks for joining us on Tales from the Vault. Have a good night.
Oh no, the dinosaurs are heading for the Winter Wonderland.
All right. Who wants to go next?
I mean, I guess I came back. I won't technically be as involved as Monkey was, but I've been catching up on the Muppet movies.
Nice.
Oh, Jacob and I have a tie-in. Jacob, you go first. You and I tie into each other with our stuff.
Like technically, the first Muppet movie I watched, I think, was technically Muppets Most Wanted.
One of the better ones.
Oddly enough, I think that was the first Muppet movie I watched.
I love Tina Fey. And again, all of our human actors are so good in that movie. Tina Fey just steals it, man. She's hysterical.
And then I think the next one after that was Treasure Island.
That's the one I grew up with. I know it's not the best. It really isn't.
It's okay.
I'm getting around to. I'm going to get around to Christmas Carol later on. But I pretty much like rounded up on like all the stuff that all the movies that they've had otherwise. Like
cool.
And so unfortunately, they don't have Muppets like Take Manhattan. I mean, they also don't have Muppets from Space, but I don't think many people are missing that one. But oh no, man! That's pretty much all I've been catching up on. I mean, I've been like watching like the watching a couple episodes of Caballeros and assorted things here and there. But like the Muppets has pretty much been like the main stuff I'm catching up on.
Okay.
Okay, so funny you mentioned Muppets, because I binged two things with the ball. I'm not finished on the other thing, but I watched. I binged one thing and finished it, and that was the Muppets, the 2015, the ABC series.
It was going too soon.
It was. So I was able to watch all that because it's only 16 episodes roughly. So see that one, it's still again re-examining. It's been a while. Of course, Tiki and I we recapped that one very in depth when it was freshly airing. So it's been a while. I got a little bit of distance. Remembered it and was able to kind of rewatch it. And it's the series as a whole. It definitely deserved the second season to see where it would have gone. But I tell you, first season, it's still hit and miss. I won't lie. It's a little hit and miss in places.
Yeah,
it is. And some episodes they still don't hold up. Like when we cover them, it's like they didn't hold up, especially on the rewatch.
I mean, from what I remember, it didn't really get good until like the executive, like great until the executive took over.
What do you mean, Apache?
Yeah, like the lady the network hired.
Yeah, that guy.
Yeah, and then I think the best episode before that was the one with Gonzo.
I know that's exactly.
That was a really good episode.
That is a good one. That's the great Gonzo episode. Gonzo is point being Gonzo's going Gonzo. I think
going Gonzo.
There you go. That's the one. Yes. Anyways, of course, a lot of great, a lot of great kind of like guest stars. Of course, my favorite. I still can't stop laughing. Just
Tom Bergeron.
There's Tom Bergeron. Just that gag still, I think, is the funniest thing in that whole series. I still love it. I don't know why. It's just poor Tom Bergeron. He was so even though the Muppets kept talking crap about him, he still had a chipper attitude. He still had such a chipper attitude. And he was like, "Oh no, I heard you. I'll be back." Is did anyone tell Tom Bergeron he replaces? No one told.
And then he's like, "He heard you,"
and they're not even gonna give him the good salami. Just gonna. Anyway, so that, and I gotta tell you, the one that kind of charmed me on the real, I completely forgot how charming this was. The Christina Applegate episode. It's like, oh my god, Christina! If I wasn't already in love with Christina Applegate, this episode made me even more in love with her. It's like, oh god, she was so nice to Scooter, and she pied herself in the face with, she caked herself in the face, and Peggy's off to the side, looking, not so perfect now, are we? Christina Applegate's hysterical, and of course, I still, in connection to Scooter, I guess, the Chelsea Handler episode, man, I just love this. Was ridiculous. Again, I don't know why. As mentioned with Jacob with Muppets Most Wanted, I don't know why Muppet relationships can be hysterical when done right. Like again, Tina Fey they have falling head over heels for Kermit the Frog, or again, classically the best Muppet relationship of all time. It's Miss Piggy and Charles Grodin from Great Muppet Caper. Yes. The single greatest relationship ever committed in the films of the Muppetdom. It really is.
The piggy go for the Groban.
That too. It's funny.
Let's also not forget the real best Muppet relationship: Sam Eagle and Jean. Just kidding. Sorry, go on.
Anyway, but seriously, I love the Chelsea Handler thing with Scooter. I just love their relationship. It's a shame they didn't go back to that. It's a shame they didn't have that be a recurring bit. Guest stars, you can only do so much. The point being is, they had some great stuff in that series. I think probably the greatest episode. And again, this isn't going Gonzo. So that one probably is the best episode of the whole bunch. If I'm going through them off the top of my head. I got to tell you though, I think one of the great lines. It's from Joseph Gordon-Levitt. I just love how we got Joseph Gordon-Levitt there. We had him sing. Not only did he sing, he was able to be really funny with the poker game. And the poker game had one of my favorite lines in that series. Give me that Muppet money.
Oh my god, I forgot about that. Oh god.
Remember, he cheats him at poker. He basically
made Muppet money for the recap show. Oh god.
Give me that Muppet money. He finds him at poker. He's just taking the money, and it's this great gag where Barry says, "That's called acting." Because I was the guy who played Bruce Willis, who was the younger Bruce Willis. I didn't really follow the movie, but I was good in it. It was acting. And he's just like, oh god, it's hysterical. And of course, Big Mean Carl still.
Great thing that I remember Joseph Gordon-Levitt being in.
See, he's actually working still. He's doing some other projects coming up. Again, the most recent thing I saw him is, oddly enough, Muppet related with that 50th anniversary Sesame Street thing. So, oddly enough.
Oh, okay.
Wasn't Kermit actually on that too?
Yeah, Kermit was. He showed up. And again, it was the best I've heard Matt Vogel sound as Kermit so far, which again, at this stage in the game...
Nice to know he's at least making progress.
He is. He's making progress. I think maybe I don't know if it's us getting used to him or him getting better at the role. I like to think it's a little bit of both, but so it's an improvement, so I'll take what I can get.
I mean, to be fair, after 20 years, after 20 years of Whitmire, it's kind of hard. The sudden change is just kind of unnatural in a way.
You know what's trippy? Because I listened to an interview. I watched an interview with Steve Whitmire recently, and I've never seen just him speaking. I've read the quotes, of course, after what happened to Steve Whitmire, but I saw him speak, and I get that he sounds remarkably like Kermit in his natural voice. It's amazing.
Yeah.
Anyway, so point being, I did a lot of I binged all the Muppet stuff. Of course, it bums you out. It kind of ends on a cliffhanger with Kermit and Piggy. It ends like on the plane. It's like, yeah, you want to see the second season, but anywho. But again, hit or miss. Some episodes don't. The Reese Witherspoon episode doesn't land at all. That sort of stuff. Anyway, with Groban, I wasn't crazy about I'm still not crazy about the Groban episode, but I love Groban's show on Netflix. Though Groban had a show on Netflix, which I doubt is going to get picked up for a second season. It was The Good Cop.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he's delightful. And it's the guy who did Monk did that show. Andy Breckman, I believe his name is. It's really charming little show. Him and Tony Danza. Tony Danza is a formerly crooked cop, but his son's a by the book cop. But he's Josh Groban.
Hijinks.
Adorable. Anyway, other show. Silver Surfer. I've never seen the Silver Surfer show before, so I'm watching it currently. It's 13 episodes. It's a one-season job, and I'm about halfway through. And I'll tell you, It's keep it simple. It's very 90s Fox. It's very 90s, that early Marvel animation style. Very they're kind of pushing the boundaries. There's a bit of the CG blend that the 90s Spider-Man toyed around with here and there with their backgrounds. Only basically Galactus is kind of a CG 2D blend. But he's good though. I like the dynamic between Galactus and Silver Surfer. Honestly, the show's good, but I can absolutely see why the show wasn't picked up further. It was It's basically it's very on brand with the Silver Surfer, very true to the Silver Surfer. A few edits here and there. They give him a sidekick a couple times, like he goes on adventure sidekick. Goes
Philosophical.
That's what I'm saying. It's very philosophical, and I love it. That's the thing. I love how philosophical it is.
That's what draws me to it. That's absolutely what I love about the character.
Worst thing is Silver Surfer, completely created by Jack Kirby, but Stan Lee added all the philosophical, awesome stuff. Though that's where you basically the whole Galactus Herald thing. That's all Jack Kirby, but the whole like Silver Surfer going around after the Galactus story going around. That's Stan Lee right there. That's all that Stan Lee magic. And I tell you, and that's great with the show. But absolutely, this would never have. I can see with all this stuff, it would never have played with kids. Kids just say, "Why is he always talking?"
Totally.
But it's really good. It's good stuff. Again, the animation. Again, it's not the most. Again, but this was Marvel animation in the '90s. It wasn't the stuff you'd write home about. But again, it was the content. And the content's good.
Yeah.
All right.
Cool. All right. So with me, guys, nothing too thrilling. The most I watched was Timon and Pumbaa. I watched about a dozen episodes of that, so it's not like I binged the whole thing or anything. But I got to tell you, Timon and Pumbaa, for the most part, really holds up. The one thing that it doesn't do well, and honestly, it's not. I don't know, man. There are so many fart jokes in this show, but honestly, there's so many of them that it almost kind of just sounds like a sound effect. Like, it's not even a joke. It's bizarre. It's like Pumbaa will just be walking around and like just be like a couple fart sound effects here and there. And it's just, I literally just think it's part of like the sound effects of the show. I don't even know if it's like really supposed to be a gag.
Is the show as surreal as I remember it?
Yes.
If I remember correctly, I think the whole fart gag was that and you correct me wrong, because you've actually seen it since I saw it like way back in the day on VHS and when it would air on TV, the early days of kind of the extra channels on the TV. Anyway, if I remember, it was like they use the farts as like a compliment to like a squash and stretch thing with the animation, as if the Pumbaa were like kind of like the stretch into frame, you hear like a fart sound that kind of punctuated.
Yeah, that sounds about right. Yeah, it is kind of like part of the soundtrack in that way, for sure. Yeah. And I got to admit, it kind of like, I don't know. I'm of mixed minds about it because it's a little bit annoying, but by the same token, it's almost kind of like it's almost funny in how overbearing it is. But you know what's great? You know what I love about the show is just how much the show just like laughs in the face of continuity. This show does not give a crap about continuity, not even between the movie and the show itself, but just simply episode by episode.
Yeah, and like there's some episodes that like take place in like the ancient times or like in
exactly,
and then there are episodes that like take place in like modern day like in New Amsterdam or something.
Yeah, I remember that. They go in the office building sometimes.
Like the episode with the clock.
Now, to be fair, the interesting thing about the interesting thing is that Lion King, again, it's in Africa. Like again, with the animals, therefore we never get like a sense of when it is. There's no indication of when.
Exactly right.
So right. There's a little leeway. I gotta give them points there. There's a little bit of leeway. Now, let me ask this, Steve. So, have you finished it, or are you still going through it right now?
No, I'm still going through. I'm only about a dozen episodes in. I'm not even really that far in.
I remember this being early on. So, tell me if you've gotten to this yet. Have you gotten to an episode that basically the framing device is Simba and Zazu. Basically, Zazu's telling a story, and then Simba kind of comes at like a full grown. So says, maybe I can wait, and they can change my diaper, that sort of thing. He's basically, oh yeah, I changed the master's diaper. Basically, making fun of like something about Simba being a kid.
Oh God, no, I haven't gone to that, but that's.
Well, the Zazu episode I remember is the one where he's like off by a count or whatever, like off by, like his count is off by one.
Okay, I could have sworn it was early on, but maybe it's.
Like I said, I'm only about a dozen episodes in.
Well,
so
even
I'm
if you were, it might be out of order. Maybe that's it.
Exactly.
Oh, which,
So,
by the way, Silver Surfer, I was pleased to find out was completely in the right order. Same with the Muppets. So it seems like if a series aired, like, well, it still is, basically if a series like specifically aired, as in it came out on a weekly basis, like the Muppets, as in it was like a recent show, that one makes sense. Like if it has like a number within the episode, I think they can, okay, episode 1, 2, therefore they know the number of the episode. It's not like Recess those a whole bunch and they're not really numbered. That's probably where something like that breaks down, I guess. And Silver Surfer is only one season. It's pretty simple to keep that in order. Again, it's an optimistic. I'm looking for a logic here, folks. So if there's a logic, I guess that's it. I know Agent Carter's in the correct order, and again, I'm presuming because they have the numbers built into the episode titles. That's probably how they can keep track of that. But again, they're not putting in the extra effort. Like, okay, maybe let's look at what the order of the episodes is. Then we'll plug them in like that. Nope.
And for some shows it works. Episodes the out of order thing works because they, like with Timon and Pumbaa, didn't have continuity.
Timon and Pumbaa, like it literally does not matter at all. That's just
Mm-hmm.
I mean, there's some. I mean, I think like some of the people are like trying to correct the order or whatever. I mean, like maybe like they've like reported it to Disney Plus. Like some people, like some of the creators, like even like talking about how their shows are out of order and stuff like that.
Yeah.
They're like they actually said that they're like trying to get them to work on that.
Yeah, and they should, man. It's embarrassing.
Yeah. Let's see. My favorite episode of Timon and Pumbaa so far is the one where, do you guys remember where Timon and Pumbaa basically have like this petty fight with each other, and then they like go off on their own and they find doppelganger versions of the other?
I think that sounds somewhat familiar.
That doesn't ring a bell.
It's a really early episode.
Well, again, maybe.
But what's fun is that we get to hear the voice actors kind of like playing against type, because the gag is essentially that the Timon is like really, kind of a slob, and the Pumbaa is like really sophisticated. And so basically they're just kind of like, oh, Pumbaa, I missed you because it's terrible living with one of me, so I don't know. There's some fun villains in the show. There's this hunter character. I forget what his name is, but do you remember him? He's pretty fun.
I mean, is it Quint?
Yes, that's what it is. Yeah.
And he has a different occupation like every episode.
Exactly. Yeah. He's a lot of fun. He's a standout.
I think isn't that Jeff Bennett?
I'm pretty sure it is. Yeah.
Like, I am Hunter Quint or something along those lines.
I love his design.
And he always has a different occupation, a different name.
And yeah, just overall, this show is just a lot of fun just because of it's just these two characters that work really. I would argue to say Timon and Pumbaa, they work way better here than they do like as the dumb comic relief in a Shakespearean, like epic drama that is The Lion King. I mean, I'm not saying, I'm not poo-pooing their role in The Lion King. I'm not. I don't dislike them as much as a lot of people do. I'm not huge on them either, but I think here they really just work well. They're really just kind of firing on all cylinders. If it weren't for the stupid fart sound effect, which, like, I mean, it's not even an issue with the writing with the fart sound effects. I really think that was a production issue. But the writing itself with the characters is like really on point. The Timon and Pumbaa dynamic itself, it's just like it's exactly what you expect it to be episode by episode, and that makes the series very watchable. And like I said, just the difference in the settings and the crazy scenarios, it is a really fun, just outlandish cartoon. I would honestly wager to say it's one of the more consistent cartoons that Disney came up with during this time period. I really do. Monkey already kind of told us about, the Little Mermaid show, and that kind of sounds like it's, maybe for better or worse, kind of a little bit of a train wreck. But Timon and Pumbaa, from what I remember, I feel like the quality stays consistent all the way through. I mean, it's not necessarily a show that you can mess up and go off the rails on, because really the show's kind of like off the rails from the word go with some of the concepts. So yeah, I enjoy it quite a lot.
I actually think thinking back to my childhood, I actually think this show was like my first exposure to the Lion King in any way.
Really, that's funny.
Yeah, before I watched the movie, I just watched like I watched Timon and Pumbaa before I watched the movie.
Kind of like how Doug Walker's first exposure to Star Wars was the Ewok cartoons.
Oh god.
Yeah, other than that, nothing really too big at all. I kind of been dipping my toes in some classic Simpsons. I've checked out an episode or two of Rescue Rangers. That might be my next binge after Timon and Pumbaa. I watched the pilot of I don't know. I assume it's the pilot. It sets up the story and everything of Gargoyles, and that's interesting. I'll definitely go through it eventually.
Oh, that's a good one.
What?
That's a good one.
Yeah, for sure. But without further ado, folks, it's time to get to the second and possibly final, because I'm kind of running out of these quicker than I thought I would.
Mhm.
Tiki's obscure pick of the week.
Weak.
All right, and here's the thing with Tiki's obscure pick of the week. All right, this is kind of why I'm sort of struggling with this concept, is that I don't necessarily feel like there's a lot of obscure things. Like, there's stuff I haven't seen before, like The Ugly Dachshund and stuff like that, but I don't necessarily feel like those movies are obscure per se. Even something like The Computer Wore Tennis Shoes. It's a crazy title, but I feel like people have heard of that movie just based on how crazy the title is. So I'm really struggling with the obscure factor in Tiki's obscure pick of the week. But with that in mind, I did stumble upon something that I thought was pretty ridiculous, and that is the $1 Million Duck. No, this is not a Donald Duck video at all. It is a 1971 screwball comedy starring the one and only Dean Jones, who I am quickly realizing, guys, Dean Jones was like the John Ratzenberger for Disney live-action comedies in the 70s. I mean, this guy was like in The Love Bug. He was in a couple others that I was kind of sampling for obscure pick of the week. I mean, this guy was kind of like all over the studio at the time. So the premise of the $1 Million Duck is research professor Albert Dooley, played by Dean Jones, is stuck with past due bills and one downy dense lab duck. But an ordinary bird turns extraordinary when he is accidentally zapped with radiation and casually starts laying proverbial golden eggs. Cashing in on newfound riches becomes a side-splitting scramble as the secret gets out, and Flint and friends, neighbors, and government T-men mount an all-out quack attack to capture the rare bird. So yeah, it's pretty much what it sounds like. Wacky science experiment goes wrong on this goose. He starts laying duck. I always want to call him a goose because the goose who laid the golden egg. But wacky science experiment causes, for some inexplicable reason that they don't really get into, the duck to start laying the golden eggs. Everyone wants the golden eggs, and then by the time the third act rolls around, it's basically sort of like a screwball chase comedy. Nothing too thrilling, but I do think it's pretty obscure. It's definitely got the obscure factor going on. And what I do like about it is that it is kind of just this really, really screwball premise with the with the laying the golden eggs and all that. It's pretty ridiculous, and it just kind of boils down to a series of shenanigans, and I had fun with it. But I'm not sure how much longer I'm going to keep up this obscure pick of the week, just because, I mean, frankly, guys, some of these movies I just kind of feel like I'm wasting my time with when I watch them, just because it's just kind of like, all right, like a lot of them start to feel the same after a while. A lot of them are just kind of like, all right, ridiculous. I'm avoiding the animal movies, for example, because I feel like the animal movies in their own right are kind of like this weird subgenre. So I don't know. We'll see.
For a lot of these movies, it seemed like they were just trying to come up with a plot to justify a title.
Exactly, Jacob. Exactly. And that's what I'm saying. It's like the titles themselves sound fun, but then when you actually watch the movie, it's kind of like, oh, it's not great. It's not great. So, yeah, I don't know. But, overall, like I said, I'm not sure how much longer I'll be doing this. All right, guys. Well, that will do it for this week's edition of Plus&Us. Thanks to Inhuman Quake for joining us in the comments, even though he was unfortunately late. Sorry about that, Inhuman Quake. Definitely be sure to watch this in the archives to get our thoughts on Mandalorian, Goldblum, and Imagineering Story and whatnot. I'm trying to think of any other announcements or anything. Join us for a Disney Plus Disney debate. Dragon, do you want to sell that a little bit?
Yes, folks. We're in week 2 of Disney Plus, and it's still pretty fresh off the presses. We've kind of built up at least roughly 3 episodes of each of the kind of our flagship kind of shows we've been talking about here. So to reflect that in kind, reflect how the world's been changing, how the streaming war has been courted. It's we're doing a Disney Plus themed debate. We're going next level with it, folks. For the next century, for the kids, man. We're doing Disney Plus for the kids.
Think of the children.
Exactly. So that's going to be tomorrow, and pretty much 3-round questions between these two knuckleheads. See who is going to have kind of the fortitude to make it through the 3 rounds, followed by the exciting mysterious speed round. All Disney Plus related, everything under the sun, all in connection to, well, our main round's Disney Plus related. The other stuff, let's say, mostly Plus related. Also, maybe a few topical things.
Ooh.
Topical. Anyway.
Okay. Yeah. All right. Well, that'll do it for us this week as we holster our remotes till the next installment calls for the draw. Mano y mano. Just Plus and Us. Hello, I'm Michael Eisner.